Look at today, and I know a lot about history, Western history, European history. The one thing in art school, we have to study art history from the first cave drawing ever discovered. That was evidence of the first culture. We studied all of them, all through the years. Architecture, art. Every great culture has been defined by their art. And their concern and care for the women. Every culture. Every culture. So I look today, there's a massive problem with missing Native women, murdered Native women. And one of the questions I think was posed to me is why would I get involved? How's it affected my life? I'm qualified. I'm very qualified for this statement today. If I have to give the qualifications, my grandmother was murdered. There was never prosecution of her murderer. My mother was abducted at 4 years old. And she was abducted at 4 years old by the United States government. And she was taken a long way from home. And the stories that she told little by little over my young years, as well as witnessing the murder and death of her friends. Murder and death are a part of the Native culture. We've endured it since the first people stepped off the ship in 1620, established this as a new homeland. This is part of the fabric of our society. This is why the laws are crafted in a certain way, to protect that institution of oppression. We may not like it, we may not agree with it. We struggle with it today. You struggle with it today. Native Americans are the only ones in the country who can be prosecuted twice for the same crime. That's not in dispute. There is no protection for cross-prosecution. We live under a different set of rules. We live in a foreign country. I have a dual citizenship. You have a dual citizenship. Every Native American here enrolled belongs to two countries. But we look at this United States of America, the contiguous United States of America, and we say we are a nation of laws under one law, under one form of government. But then we have the practice of that. And we start getting to the minutiae of it. In the United States of America, it's against the law to assault somebody. It's against the law to exceed the speed limit of the jurisdiction you're in. It's against the law to defraud the federal government of properly owed taxes. It's against the law to pollute something where you harm your neighbors. So why do we have an identifiable missing and indigenous women's problem? There's also young boys involved. There's also fathers involved. They didn't talk about the fathers who got murdered trying to defend their daughters and mothers. Murder's rampant. Why? What collectively do we want in the Native community? We were forced at the point of the gun to sign a treaty to cede our lands and acquiesce to the will of the new government. The amount of money that was spent for this property right here, this library's on, was a little over a penny. Maybe a penny and a quarter. It's easy to figure out. There was never a compensation for this land. But we're asking for, if we're a nation of laws, we all are subjected to the same laws. Why is my community not affected by those laws? Why is there an exception in America that those laws don't affect these people? They never did. They were financed, the people in the Pilgrims were financed by bankers in England. And they came with a huge debt. They even landed in the wrong place. They were supposed to land in the Carolinas. And the bankers, or a year or so later, they want some kind of payment. How many people in this room know what the first payment was made to the bankers in England? It's in all the history books. No, it's not. It's not one Walt Disney movie either. It was a load of women and children and men sold into slavery and sent to Africa. Their first year. Ever since then, our people have said, if we're going to be part of this community, we should live under one set of laws. One set of laws. And today we have good people fighting, good people listening, saying, where's the justice? The question is, why are there multiple sets of laws for one race of people, the Native Americans? Why? That's the question. When you leave here, you start asking around, why is there a different set of laws for the natives? Why don't they go to the same laws we go? Why are we not subjected to the same laws and vice versa? Why have we perpetuated this distinction that the Native Americans are inferior? When my grandmother was murdered in the 50s, early 50s, a group of men from the tribe gathered together and they said, we're going to go find out who murdered her. They had a good idea who murdered her. Each one of these men were veterans of World War II. One had been at the Battle of the Bulge. Native American soldiers fought the front lines. They knew death, they knew murder, they knew guns. And they went out and found this person. And they murdered him. They killed him, wrapped him up, weighed him down, and threw him in the Skagit River. They came back and told the community, we can't find him, he must have taken off to Mexico. And they kept this secret from all the other siblings in the family, all the children. They only told the grandchildren before they died. They said, we need you to hear the story, what really happened. They never told the siblings. Because they knew justice would not be done. The first person hung in Skagit County was a Native American Skagit member. No one knows the crime, they just know it was hung. There's always been a different set of rules. All the natives are asking for is, if we were forced to acquiesce to the soil, even though it was only paying a quarter for this land, but we agreed to go with the same set of laws. Why are we splitting hairs on which law is over here? I was a member of the Upper Skagit Tribal Council. We wanted to build buildings, big buildings. We don't have a building code. We got to have a building code. Well, so we did. We got Washington State UBC, Uniform Building Code. So that's our building code. We adopted it. I didn't change one thing in there. That book is that thick, and it's small print. But when it comes to laws, this law, that law falls under a different category. Really? So if I'm in Marysville, this law is okay. If I'm over here in Everett, it's a different application. If I'm in Seattle, outside the Native community, they say, no, it's the same law out here. When you want to res, we got to start looking at things differently. Your job as speakers now, you're all assumed responsibility today by witnessing this, is to go out and ask, why are there multiple sets of laws that apply outside the general community of the United States of America, why are there multiple sets of laws? Who has the right to say there's even a division of laws? I pay taxes in Washington, I pay taxes in Oklahoma, New Mexico, Providence, Rhode Island, Fayetteville, Arkansas. Pay taxes. I've got a ticket in 3 states. Same speed limit that's on, 62 miles an hour and 55. That's back in the day. We all know the laws. Why are our laws so different? You know, on my reservation, in my family holdings, I cannot buy or sell my own property. Imagine you got an inheritance. And that inheritance is worth $1 million. And you say, well, I want to sell that land because, I want to do something with the money. I want to help my kids. I want to do something, whatever it is. But you don't have a legal right to sell it. Because there's a different set of laws on the reservation when it comes to property ownership. The BIA oversees that. You have to ask the BIA permission to sell your land. And they may take 1 or 2 years to make a decision. If you want to harvest timber off of it, you have to submit this to the BIA for consideration. Once again, why are all the laws so drastically different? And is it time to take a look at that? And I believe it is. Because the consequences now, the people who practice very dark things have found the weakness. The drug cartels are really efficient at getting on the reservation. How they do it, you want to know. How's a gang member from LA end up in Seattle, Marysville, Mount Vernon, Cedar Woolley, McConnell? They find a girlfriend. They are trained in how to do this. They find a girlfriend. A girlfriend who has a place to live. And they go there. And they become part of that little community. And they work their way in there. And then once they increase their circle, then they have a new market. Methamphetamines. Who knows about methamphetamines here? Nobody does. Maybe you. Maybe 1 or 2. Maybe a health official knows. How long does it take to get addicted to methamphetamine? And do you have to do it knowingly? I could have each one of you addicted by methamphetamine by Monday evening. And you'd never know. And it's been done. 2 consecutive days. It's a miracle drug in the reverse. I spent years at Children's Hospital with my son. I watched the kids in the mental health ward, and they struggle to try to find medications that help them adjust and deal with life. I'm reading about meth. In 48 hours, it rewires the brain in a very negative way. But there's no drug they've designed to rewire the brain in 48 hours to the positive. It's a miracle drug. It works really fast and very efficient. Volunteers. Women volunteering, young men volunteering to become drug addicts. No one volunteers for that stuff. You can't say, oh, she was an alcoholic and she got murdered. Oh, she was a drug addict, she got murdered. She dropped out of high school, she got murdered. Her mother was no good, her father was blah, blah. There's no bar for qualifications for it's wrong to murder somebody. There's no bar. But on the reservation there is. Why? Why in Indian country is the bar so high and the laws are so unreachable? So we say to each other, when we leave here, you're running for representative, councilman, school board, learning lessons, history lessons. A couple of you running for the governor, legislators, people of influence who are looking for input. Why do we have multiple sets of laws for the same country? It's not right. the consequences now to where we cannot bear it anymore. And pretty soon you're going to know these young ladies who are murdered. The fathers who are murdered defending their young ladies. It's going to come into your family. Oh, I knew so-and-so. She's dead. I knew so-and-so defending his daughter. He's dead. It's going to start affecting you because there's no end to this. The angle goes up, doesn't it? The graph goes up. Before I came here, I had Tony and I, my cousin Tony, we went over to have breakfast, and the first place is closed, the second place is full of people, but a little Thai restaurant across the way. Oh, having Thai food for breakfast. I walk in there like this. You know they didn't look at me twice? The only thing they wanted to know is what I want for dinner. Thank you for coming. Where are you from? From McConnell. Oh, Boone. See, that's the place there. Yeah. They come from a very tribal background. I came in my regalia. They understand that. Okay, there's someone to visit. I walk down the street like this, and it's really difficult. Look at that guy. He's different. Look at that native girl. She's different. Look at that native guy. He's different. Let's treat them differently. It all goes back to the same thing. They must need a different set of laws. There is a big picture to this. You all watch this movie. A lot of you now will have days when you reflect back on this and you become overwhelmed with tears and crying. It's called post-traumatic stress syndrome. Now you're all, yes, sir.
I think we have some questions submitted, so.
I'd love to hear them. I'll sit down. Thank you.